Y grabando, FENcast grabando, another episode, otro episodio en tiempos de cuarentena, in quarantine times. Today I'm with a Puerto Rican in the diaspora, one that focuses on visual arts, and from what I see, it is drawing, painting, tattoos, and a little bit more perhaps. We're gonna find out. Her name is Paula Rivera Calderón. How you doing, Paula? You doing good?
Oh, I'm so sorry. For some reason, a question, I didn't hear it, but I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for saying yes. So right off the bat, I just gave a brief introduction of who you are, but for those who don't know, what do you do in the field of the visual arts?
Mm-hmm. Well, you pretty much summed up what I do. I'd say right now I'm focused on mostly painting and drawing, but before the pandemic, before COVID, in 2019, I was doing more tattooing. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So
Mm-hmm.
based on what I have seen in your work, a lot of it is very colorful, very imaginative. Um, I
Thank
don't see collage in the traditional sense, but I can see it
you.
at least in your interpretation of it, and by taking
Mm-hmm.
painting and making collage out of that. So I want to ask you, first, have you considered collage in the past? Have you
Mm-hmm.
considered photography? Have you considered cinema as a visual artist?
Mm. Interesting. I think I have, or not I think, I definitely haven't thought about or have, I guess I've tried all those areas. Interesting. Not so much collage necessarily, even though I see why that would come up. I think a lot of my pieces tend to be sort of like a mashup of images. But I'm kind of just reminded. So, a few years ago, I studied at Artist in San Juan, and I studied animation there. So I did do some animation, but film is something I'm interested in as well. Yeah.
Awesome. If you were to go back to it, would you do animation or would you consider exploring another genre of film?
I would love to continue with animation. I'm not entirely clear on what on what my artistic trajectory is right now. But I always imagine that later in life when I have perhaps more time and resource, I would love to get into film. So animation would definitely be part of that. So I do kind of hope that everything I'm doing now is going to lead there. I'm very interested in sequence and things that feel sequential and have like a narrative. So I'm hoping, or what I would like is that whatever I'm doing now is going to lead to much bigger projects that involve narrative and sequence.
Super cool, super cool. It would be very cool to see your style in animation, because
Thank you.
as I mentioned earlier, it is very imaginative. So I was wondering, where does the imagination come from? And since you're a mom, is motherhood an inspiration as well?
Definitely. So where does the imagination come from? Well, I think it comes from, I don't know, me being very introspective and spending a lot of time by myself reflecting. I feel like as a child I was so much in my own bubble that has just carried on. The motherhood has definitely impacted my work. I think Sorry, just thinking about it for a sec. I think I've become more conceptual as time has gone on, and I think having a child definitely has a lot to do with that, or has influenced that a lot.
Gotcha. What inspirations aside from that would you say are some, like, what artists have inspired you? What usually influences your work?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm very inspired and very influenced by, I'd say very, elements. I like concepts that feel general and specific. So I think I take a lot from the environment. And, lately, especially especially last year, or the time of the pandemic, I've been so much more, I guess, since, we're all so much more isolated, I feel like I've been much less influenced by other artists and by art, and everything has been I've been generating from myself. Which is it's kind of amazing how much we have inside of ourselves, and once we have the time to really unlock it, it's pretty crazy how much comes out. It's almost like a Pandora's box, but in a hopefully not as detrimental way. But one thing that I definitely am inspired by, like I said, my child, and honestly watching a lot of children's movies. Definitely inspires me, and I think influences me a lot. My son is very into Miyazaki films, which are, timeless. They're classics. They're so amazing, and there's a lot in those films I definitely take and how do I say? And they do inspire direction in what I do.
I was just about to ask that, because by just looking at a few of your most recent paintings, the lighter touch of the painting, for example, bright blues, bright greens, stuff like that, they remind me of movies like Totoro and I don't know if you've seen Porco Rosso, but that movie as well, and Ponyo.
Yes, that's one of my favorites. Currently, I think Ponyo is my favorite.
Nice. So you mentioned quarantine and how it has affected your work. So I wanted to ask, what was your creative process pre-pandemic, and how has the pandemic/quarantine changed it?
Before March of 2020, I was much busier, and I felt like everything I did creatively was just kind of coming out of being completely burnt out, and it was always I don't know, it's just I felt like I just was kind of stumbling forward with something that I actually wasn't even too sure what I was doing, because I was just tired all the time. I was working multiple jobs, and I have my son, who I'm alone with during the week. And once that all just came to a stop, and we're staying at home, we're in quarantine. My son is not in school anymore. I'm just working from home, and it definitely, that was definitely a huge shift. I had the time to focus in a way I couldn't before. I think I am very impetuous, and the way I work is sort of very immediate, is what I mean. I don't really do sketches beforehand. I don't draw things in pencil and fill it in. I just do it. And before the pandemic, I guess I was doing less complicated work. I wasn't doing paintings, really. But then, yeah, I've been able to focus on much more, so to speak, finished paintings since then, which is a new thing for me, honestly.
Super nice. I also wanted to ask, you're also a tattoo artist, so I know it is a completely different process, but if you could share your creative process when you do tattoos, like, do your clients usually come with an idea? Have you had very open-minded clients who just let you do your thing?
All of that. I'd say, so tattooing for me really was, if I had the time, and if it does come up again, I would like to put more focus into it. But it did feel much more like a side project. So people have been very open-minded because, like, for one, I never really had very much of a proper flash. I had, like, a pile of drawings, like a literal pile, and I would be like, when people would come, I'd just be like, look through it, and we'll come up with something. Sometimes people would see things that they want exactly. Sometimes we would sort of make something up, or take the time to make something up. But my experience with people has been really positive. I miss it.
Don't worry. I also wanted to ask, I looked at your website and I saw that you also have done murals. So could you compare and contrast your experience doing regular paintings and murals, like the creative process behind one versus the other?
Yeah, well, murals are something, I love to do more of, and that is something else I hope to get into ongoing. And I love working large. So the mural that's on my website is, I'd say it's only more like proper mural, so to speak. I've painted a wall in a friend's bedroom before, and I've painted walls, but that was the biggest one I've ever done. And the process, it wasn't too different from how I paint, because I approached it in the same way, as far as, like, I didn't really plan it, I just did it. I had just the materials I had. I had black paint and white paint. I had, like, a few brushes, and I was like, all right, I'm going to just make something up with this. Yeah, well, I don't know if that's how it was with that one, but, if I do have the opportunity to do more murals, I think I probably put much more thought into them, and do much more planning.
Super cool. Now, shifting a little bit topics, you're currently living in Philly, but you've spent time in Puerto Rico. So I wanted to ask, based on your experience, how does the art scene in Puerto Rico look, and how does it look in the diaspora?
Yeah, for one, I wish I was, a bit more involved, or a bit more aware of the art scene in Philadelphia, but not, and in the greater diaspora. I feel, especially ever since being a parent, I'm so kind of, like, insulated in my life that I'm less aware of what's of the art scene around me. But I do remember being in Puerto Rico, and the artists I know there. It's so different. It's so different than art here, and it really, I think at that time I also had, like, a great shift in in my work and was very inspired. I wish I were in better touch with my friends in Puerto Rico right now, but I think my greatest takeaway was that there was I don't know, I'm sure I could go into this more, but something so much more authentic about what people were doing, and felt very real. Like, I feel like, I don't know, these are pretty broad ways of putting complex things, but, like, I feel like American culture is so much about advertising, and art kind of feels like that. And there was just something different in my time in Puerto Rico. It just felt not quite like that. I don't know if any of that makes sense.
Yeah, maybe it was a little more auteur, if we could put it in cinematic terms. Like, instead of a lot of promos, the artist reflected more the artist per se.
That makes sense.
I also wanted to ask, are there any artists in particular that you want to collaborate with in the future?
Interesting. Yes, definitely. I mean, really, the artists that come to mind are friends and people I know personally, that I would love to collaborate with. What comes to mind right now is I have friends who are writers, and actually I have one friend in particular. I don't know if she'll listen to this, but I have one friend in particular who is a writer in LA that I am really dying to make something with her, a book or anything. Yeah.
Super cool. So, if this person's listening, make contact with Paula. As many say on the first day of the new year, new me. So I wanted to ask, new year, do you have any new projects in the works?
Well, I don't have a linear idea of where projects will go for this year, but I do. I am putting together a small book that's going to be made of all the paintings I've done last year, and well, that's currently what I'm working on and what I'm looking forward to sharing.
Is there an approximate amount of paintings that would be in that book?
About 10 paintings.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. I forgot to ask. I did ask you about what other visual arts you would like to explore, but are there any other art forms, like, say, music or theater, that you would like to explore?
Well, I do love dancing. It's very much a hobby, but that is something I do it all the time. I'm going to continue to. And I had something in mind that escaped me. I had mentioned film, definitely dance. I actually, while I am still, how do I say, I haven't, I'm still not working. I'm still, like, very much in, the motions of the pandemic. I have been picking up sculpture a bit. Actually, I had forgotten how much I enjoy it, but I do want to keep going forward with it.
Interesting. How much time was it since you like left sculpting and then started again?
Yeah, I mean, I guess not since college. So I guess since 2015.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
2015. That's 6 years now. But
Yeah, a few years.
yeah, but it's like riding a bicycle, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. I had no idea. I actually really enjoy it.
Enjoyed the creative process because it is something different. It is relaxing. How would you describe it?
I like it because um, at least the way I've been going about it, it feels very strictly like a craft, which so it's uh, so it's like a contrast painting. I feel like when I'm doing a painting or a drawing, it's much more I guess emotional. Like I don't know, it's kind of like this. It becomes this greater project of like like reflecting my whole like soul into something. But when I'm sculpting, it's like I can just enjoy doing it, and it's very for me it feels very mechanical, and it's like just purely physical. But also skill building. So it feels really healthy to be doing.
Gotcha. Would you consider doing
Mhm.
pottery as well?
Perhaps, perhaps.
Nice. Very nice.
Hmm.
Um, so we're almost finishing up here, but first off, your
Okay.
social media and your website so people know.
Oh, like I should just say it? Say what they are?
Yeah, of course.
All right, cool. Well, my Instagram is __p _RC. My website is paularivera.calderon.com. Yeah. Thank you for letting me share.
Obligado. Now the last question, a fun one that might be a little difficult, but it comes from a fun place. So, let's say that you're stranded on an island and you only have 3 Miyazaki movies to entertain yourself. Which ones are you taking?
Did you say 3 meals?
3 Miyazaki movies.
Miyazaki movies. Okay. That's a fun question. Okay. Wow. Ponyo, Porco Rosso, and oof. The Wind Rises.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Damn. So you have a really fun one, a really heartfelt one. You have a really funny one with Porco Rosso, even though it's also heartfelt. And then you have one to shed a tear with The Wind Rises.
Exactly. It will sustain me as well as any films can if I'm stranded on a desert island.
That is a very nice collection right there. But then again, you never miss with Miyazaki. Well, Paula, first off, I want to say thank you for saying yes for the interview.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Second, I want to say keep working because I love your work. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
And third, masks, alcohol, social distancing, whatever you have to do, stay healthy.
Thank you. Same to you. And thank you for doing this interview. I was very surprised when your DM came up. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Her name is Paula Rivera Calderón. Her website is paularivera.calderon.com. Her Instagram is __p_RC. Is that right?
Yes.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.